Hey, welcome back to Flywheel Films. I'm out here in Whittier, California with my friends TJ and Quan, who you might remember from the road trip out to Miata reunion out to Sonoma last year. I'm actually checking out TJ's Miata today. Quan's will come someday. We'll check out his Miata someday soon, especially when he has the hardtop on it. But yeah, we're gonna check out TJ's Miata, his garage setup, some of the stuff around the area. It's a super cool vibe. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to the crib. TJ, how's it going?
Good. How's it going, Jordan? Thanks for coming by.
Great. First of all, yeah, this is just a whole vibe in here. You got the sun covers, the lights across the top there, and we're obviously here for your Miata, but just really quickly,
Yeah.
can you tell us what's back there?
You know, I just got really into the old Toyotas, something that's my dad's been into since the 80s. And, this is my daily. This is my 1980 Toyota Corolla wagon.
So awesome.
And I love it just because it's yellow. It's a nostalgic, and people always tell me like their stories about like, how like their memories with this car, or even like just any like recognition of this car whatsoever. And I always get thumbs up from all types of car people, like from lowriders to hot rod people to even just old Japanese people, old Japanese car loving people, so
Everyone has an enthusiasm for this.
Right?
Super cool. Look at that long stick. Everything is awesome in there.
Yeah.
Super classy. And then more recently, you've got this Corona here.
Yeah, this is a 1969. This has been a thorn in my side, but it's it's worth it, the inspiration behind this is just like I've always liked the 1969 and 1972 B sedan class races,
Yep.
And Toyota just never had a car in it. It's always Datsuns and Porsches and Alphas, so I kind of wanted to get something that was in that era, but just never had a name for itself. And this was kind of like my project for that, to show like what it would be if Toyota had something, within that class,
That's super cool. These wheels are even cool. I mean, what size is this?
Those are my spare tires. Those are from my wagon, and I do plan on widening some steelies, to keep it period correct. But it's yeah.
That's awesome. The whole vibe out here, great. Plants. I mean, are you into plants?
We actually planted that Japanese maple tree. Just it's weird because it comes out during spring, and it's like it's a fall plant,
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the garage over here is a super cool setup. I mean, this feels very cozy immediately. I mean, what do you have actually? There's a lot to unpack right here.
It's funny because I started my one of my new accounts was called Respark Garage, and that's something that it started here, and it happened in 2021. And I just been shooting the same like kind of cars for so long, for like hot rods and traditional stuff, and like I was working on my Miata and I injured myself, and at that time I was like, I need to make a space for myself, and and this was kind of like, when I say Respark Garage, is because this is where I got a respark for new motivation for photography, for cars, and that's when I started embracing like, okay, like what did I learn from shooting old hot rods and traditional customs? Like, how can I implement that into like other things I like, which is my roots is Japanese cars, and just everything like that was vintage. I really liked that aesthetic, and like all my friends that had like garages, like it always told a story, every little thing, every nook and cranny, had some significance, and so I kind of try to put that in this garage, but try to make it my own, so.
Yeah. Are there a couple highlights you want to bring to our attention? I mean, like I said, so much is in here, and it just feels like a whole vibe, like a movie set.
Yeah, this was actually around thanks to the Miata. It's really like, I really like, this was like one of the bumpers that I first cut, and I just got really like, I actually got this from another Miata owner. He's in Japan, Daiki-san, and he's the one who actually got this inspiration from an A86, from I think it was like an N2
Nice.
86, and so I was like, hey, is it okay if I do it on mine, and he's like, oh, don't even worry about it. So I did that. And, I just like, that was my inspiration for doing the bumper cut on my Zoom bumper, but I did it a little differently. But everything in here is just like my collection of like Kaido Racer stuff, Kyusha stuff, even to like the hot rods. I love sake, you know. So
Oh, yeah.
you know, sake and beer. So, you know, yeah, everything here is just good. It's kind of a organized chaos slash hoarder paradise.
It is
you know?
impressively organized. Like compared to like, I don't know, I've seen this amount of things in other garages that
Yeah.
give me like stress, and
Yeah.
this just like somehow feels like
Yeah.
chill, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you know, I've had a lot of good success in here. You know, like every time I get a car started again, you know, that's kind of like it's such a good feeling. You know.
Yeah. So technically, this is not starting at the moment.
Right.
But this is what people saw in the video of
Yeah.
when we went up to Miata reunion together.
Yeah.
It was a blast. I started down here, not right here, but like up in the north part of LA.
Right.
You're over here in Whittier, which is a cool area.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this is it. Now I see you have a different hood than when I last saw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, what can you tell us about this? Like what year? Like what are the bare bones of this thing?
So this is a 95 1.8. So all you guys who have the 1.8 with the sticky lifters, you guys know how embarrassing it is when you don't change your oil on time. And people think it's a tractor, but honestly, this is a survivor. I've had this for 12 plus years already.
Dang.
And it's gone through vandalism. It's gone through, you know, it's gone through so much. It's gotten towed for so many reasons, you know. But once I got this garage in 2020, my wife was like, okay, we got the place. Now you can go ahead and start messing with the car. And the first thing I got was the Watanabes. And that's always in my holy grail, you know?
Nice.
And I went through 2 different colors already. I went through bronze. I've always liked bronze.
Yep.
And I was like, I want to go something a little bit different. So I got kind of like this champagne colored, you know?
It's literally like the color, I forget what they call it, Starlight or something on the new MacBook Pro.
Yeah. Oh,
the MacBook
that's
Air.
true.
It's the same exact color.
It's weird because like sometimes it looks silver and then sometimes it's like a more champagne color.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Definitely has some warm tones to it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It fits the car nicely.
But I think my most proud piece is gonna be the hood, just because that's something that like I've done myself. Well, no, I didn't do the louvers myself, but I have a hot rod buddy that actually helped me with the louvers, and that's something that I kind of transitioned from my love of hot rods and racing is just like the rawness of bare metal and vents and louvers. I mean, they got to be functional, right? So this was something that I actually got aftermarket, but then I wanted to make sure there was an element that was custom, you know, and that was the louvers. And I recently added the hood pins too. I did get some hood shakes, you know, but the latch is still good. But I think people just look at the hood and they really get like, you know, the theme of it. And I think my other favorite part of the car is like the front bumper too.
Yeah.
So this is like the Garage 100. This is like off of the from M2, and M2 is like the Skunk Works division of Mazda, you know, and they basically did like an OEM Plus they added the fog lights, you know, and these are the CB IOD 40s, I believe. And the other thing I did change was the turn signals, which were Jetstream, but I changed the lenses to be a little bit more pointed, to look a little bit more, I think the overall theme was to go for like a 60s like race car, like roadster, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was an experimental stage, and I think like this car, like no matter if it's running or not, I still look at it, I'm just like, I can't help but take a picture of it or like look back at it, you know, when I leave the parking lot.
That's how you know you have the right car. It's when you're
Right?
like, leaving
Yeah.
and you look back and you're like, yeah, that looks cool. And from those little like turn signals back to these lights back here, like I do see 60s, which 60s cars a lot of times were reflecting on the aircraft of the area, because people were really into aircraft and airplanes. And Quan here, car designer.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Oh my God, I'm TJ's biggest fan. I just love listening to him.
Quan loves unique designs on cars, and I've got to ask, like, what do you think of? Well, what do you think of 60s cars? Like, do you think they're going to have a comeback? Like, is it super
This
niche?
kid's messing with your Cybertruck? What's going on?
Oh, dude, everyone's into the Cybertruck.
He's like
out there.
touching the wheels, but excuse me. 60s design? I mean, wow, 60s design was an era for sure. I mean, it's one of those moments where it was like, I think a lot of the stuff that came through the 60s design, 70s kind of blew it up though, but I think we always appreciate a lot of the 60s era cars. I think think. I mean, this one here, I mean, it has there's a lot of nostalgia in this design. TJ's done a great job in terms of like making it sort of, he's actually queued this thing up so it looks very unique in every aspect. The rear taillights, the front bumper, the grille. I mean, it's uniquely TJ. And I mean, really, it's one of a kind. And so I look at it and I'm always impressed whenever he starts it. Whenever I'm here, I always look at it in terms of like, all right, so what's going on now, right? And I look at it, every time I look at it like it's the first time. It's like, wow, this thing is so cool. And I think that speaks volumes. So again, TJ's biggest fan. It's good. Cheers, my buddy.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, that's what really captivated me. The first time I met this car, which was in October in Miata Reunion, before we drove up, was just like those taillights captivated me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, where do we go from here? I mean, the bumper I see, like you talked about the bumper earlier.
Yeah, it's a Zoom reproduction bumper, and what I did is I did a bumper cut, and I try to start slow because I was like, okay, if I wanted just to get this, because it used to kind of curve in here, and that there's kind of like a parachute for this bumper.
Yeah.
So I cut it, and then I was like really debating how I should cut these, because my other one has like 12, vents, and I was like, I wanted something that kind of captivated a directional, like, and this is kind of like a V, so you can kind of see where it tapers in like this.
Yep.
And tapers in with this insignia too. And a lot of these pieces here, like, from the 50s and the 60s, like what I really liked about it was Chevy back in, I think, 53, 54, when they introduced like the Chevy, the Corvair and the Nomads,
Yeah.
And I really like the Corvairs, and that's where the taillights are from, I know a lot of Miata guys will do like a C3 taillight conversion, and I really like the Corvair look, and that's why I incorporated with this, and everything I wanted just to kind of slim down the rear end. And
so how hard was it to do like this specific fitting?
it was crazy, because when I got these taillights, when I mated them up to because this is actually a garage rear panel, and they come with the Mazda Port taillights, and when I got the lenses, I put it right up to it, and it fit perfect. I mean, I had to shave a little bit of it, but the only thing is that, like, because the Mazda Port taillights, they're kind of like a half, kind of like a half moon, not even half moon. There's like the brake lights at the bottom and turn signal on the top or whatever.
Yep.
I had to figure out a way to make that, brighter,
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's kind of, it fit perfectly. It needed a little bit of shaving. So I did shave the Mazda Port cab taillights, and, and it fit.
Yeah.
So.
And then you have a ducktail spoiler from something.
This is Garage 101 as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I just really love the ethos of Garage 100's like design,
Yeah.
When I was in Japan last year and I met Onuki-san, we were talking about just kind of the stuff that we like about cars, and not just cars, like he's the same. He likes a lot of the vintage stuff too, like vintage furniture, design. He likes like airplanes and all that stuff. So like everything we talked about made sense of like, okay, this is why I really align with their design, and so I really liked that. And I wanted to keep it, I didn't want to rivet it in case I need to take it off. I like that exposed look of the hardware, just to really, show like it was added on there, and even like here, like this is all natural. Like this is just the clear coat just coming off, and this is from when I used to live in Corona. This stuff it faded, and I didn't mind it,
It's a vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lead into it.
Right?
And then the mirrors are clearly also a bit different.
Yeah, these are roundabouts, and I know like they're like the M2 copies, but at the time when I got them, I just really liked the roundness of them and just how they really added a little bit. Like I like chrome, I like bare metal.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But I think my favorite part is the seats that I actually got. These were actually custom made by my buddy David. He's a interior master, and he, I've always liked saddle or tan seats on. It goes with a lot of cars, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, why don't you try this color? And I thought, oh man, that's like, it was toned down enough because it's not like bright, but it kind of gave like this ox blood look, and you know, we even worked on the stitching, the contrasting stitching, which I really like because it's not too bright. But what I did is I designed the headrest, and I designed actually like the pattern. He kind of gave me input on the stitching and all that stuff, but I just really like this like kind of clamshell look, you know?
Looks great, yeah. Really great color too.
Yeah.
And the floor mats are awesome.
The cocoa floor mats, yeah, the tan ones. And I'd probably say another highlight too is like the gauge clusters from RS Refine. He really helped me. I think these were like this was his first set that he made in production, and he's such a good guy to work with. I know a lot of people like his rings, but you know, like everything about it just like gave it like that 50s T-Bird look, you know, like the font, the color, you know, and then Miata Roadster, Bill Warner made the shifter, which is like kind of an angled 4-inch, you know, shifter, which really gives it a more aggressive feel when you're shifting, you know. But it's shorter, but it's you know, I really like that.
Yeah, this is a whole vibe from the driver's perspective, like a POV right here. Just shifter, gauge cluster. The steering wheel is also fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like kind of darker wood.
It's like a mahogany, you know, color. Yeah.
Reddish hues, kind of matching the ox blood, matching the gloves.
Yeah.
And there's a couple switches here. What are those for?
Oh, those are just the window switches. Yeah. Those
so
are from.
cool.
It's not Adam. I forgot where those are from, but those are. Yeah, like everything. Like I love like the toggle switch, like the whole like aero fighter kind of feel. You know.
That adds. All of this adds to the '60s, which adds to the like airplane design situation.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
the door cards even.
Yeah, the door cards actually. It's funny. They're still in a work in progress because I'm trying to figure out how to design this whole thing. I actually got the door cards because it came with this piece right here, but these were from a MG, from a '60s MG, and that actual the trim ring of that the shifter is also from MG, from a '60s MG.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Got a
the
little
boot and all that.
single din, and then what's the switch right there?
Oh, that's for the fog lights.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
Those are my favorite part
Dude,
of
those switches are just so right on. And even the little door bushings are like kind of the yellow tone of the fog lights. It just all ties together.
It's funny because this is like, this is my wife and I always joke about this because she's like, you totally like that gal look, like that kind of Japanese gal look because it's glittery and it's gold. I'm like, yeah, I gotta add that flair to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that's a favorite part of my interior, you know?
And of course the hardtop, always a good look on, I mean,
Yeah.
all cars, like Quan's NC over there, which we'll eventually talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, how to pour beer.
How to pour beer.
Quan's NC is one of my favorites, and that's actually how I met Quan, which is how I met TJ, so a lot goes into that. But as far as, I mean, obviously aesthetics sets this car apart. But what have you done powertrain wise?
Powertrain wise, it's just the racing beat, cold air intake right now, but I have, cause I love driving this car normally, you know, and like, I like go to the canyons and I don't need a lot of power. I do have a spare engine that I've been contemplating on dropping, you know, it's just a lot of headaches with dealing with smog and all that stuff, you know. It's like
That's the one with ITBs?
the one with ITBs,
We should look at that. People obsess over ITBs, which rightfully so. They look cool.
They should.
They sound cool.
Yeah.
Are they underrated? Maybe. But that's what this magical thing over in the corner is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the VVT engine with the Maruha ITBs, you know, and who doesn't love the sound of these trumpets, you know?
No one.
Yeah.
If they don't, then they're lying.
Right. So, you know, so I guess my way of like, you know, not being able to hear them now is drive a carbureted Toyota, you know? You get the induction noises, you know?
Yeah.
But until then, yeah, this is something that I really want to put one day. And who knows, maybe if I really get too desperate, I'll just drop in the Corona and, you know, do a blasphemy and put a Mazda in Toyota, but
Stranger things have happened.
yeah.
Other than engine, I mean, what else do you want to do to this?
Oh man, you know, I have really debated about going the full Garage 100, one wide body, and I know that's just a lot of things to cut, you know.
Yeah.
And because I really love time attack, you know, and I know I'm not the greatest at driving and all that stuff yet, but I just love that look of that aggressive look, you know. But
Yeah.
my driveway is pretty steep, so I don't think I'll ever be able to getting out unless I just take out my bumper, you know. So, no, I honestly getting more seat time, you know, just the way it is, you know, and not even just seat time, but until this engine blows, I really want to just take it out to like places out there, like just take pictures, you know, because like no one knows how fast you're gonna go and you know, on the track, like, you know, I mean, people on the track will obviously understand, but like for me, my focus is on the aesthetic, you know, and I really want to just take pictures of things like in places that people in Japan wish they could be in, because like I see pictures of people like with their car in Japan, with it's like a Lotus 26R in front of a temple or something like that. I'm like, wow, that's amazing, you know. But people in Japan probably want to see like, what does a Miata look like in front of like Arches National Park or something like that, or like, you know, what is like we have so much scenery out here, like in the West, that, you know, I want to take it to as many places as I can, just take photos of it, you know.
Well, we got to get you out to Colorado. I know all the photo spots.
I know you do. I know.
Using them to their full extent. And
Yeah.
that is one thing I think I relate to you on. Is like a lot of people with my car, they're like, you know, I have some people that are like, why would you focus so much on the looks? You got to focus on performance. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a looks first person when it comes to cars. Like, I will literally sacrifice a malnourished performing car if it looks super cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's one thing I appreciate when I meet someone else who has that same ethos.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kwan can agree. The designer over here.
Agreed. Way to go. You know, we'll see all the EVs coming through in here. It's a phase though, but eventually the analog cars are the ones you want to be able to kind of really, that's where the actual fun begins.
And maybe someday we'll have like analog EVs, like the first gen Roadster is already sort of collectible, but I think it'll be more collectible. Because like an EV with like no power steering, that's wild to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope we have more people who appreciate the art and the sculpture behind cars. And I think that's what I really appreciate, especially NAs. I feel like there's the most like potential for a lot of people for like actually making it kind of a piece of art, and even what you do with the pop-ups, like some people you know have this intake sort of thing here, which is super cool and functional. Take that, Toyota Supra, the fake vents. And some people do like the half pop-ups, like my friend Chris, and some people do like full pop-ups. Some people delete them all together. Like there's a lot of fun things you can do with an NA. So it's fun to see what you're doing with this.
It's an homologation of like everything I love as like what I love about NAs, what I love about the type of racing I like, you know, from time attack to 60s hot rods to, you know, like all that stuff is just like, this is just combined into one, you know? And I don't know if it'll ever be done, you know? But I just think like, I just want to take it as many places as I can and just like take it to pull it off the side of the road when I see a beautiful sunset. Like right now is a nice golden hour, you know, like it's just, and you probably know, Jordan, because I see your photos, you know, you're always, you have these places that are like people, they're like locations that are not that popular, but it's like, wow, like that looks like, you know, there's a nice ambiance about the photos that you take, you know?
There's a thing like I have to shoot a lot of cars. Sometimes, unfortunately, when it's a boring car, and so it's like, okay, how do I find a cool location? But then there's like cool cars. In what people would consider as boring locations. But when you add the car location, you're like, oh wait, that's kind of a vibe. And that's like a really fun thing to unlock. And I think you have that potential with a car like this, where you can like find something super old and industrial, and no one would give it a second glance. But then you throw the car in the middle. And you put the emphasis of the photo on the car, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's my, you know, I think we both share that passion. You know, it's like, how can we visually balance the car and its characteristics, but still highlight it, but also give it that sense that like, where is this place? You know, like what time, you don't even know what time period it's at, because it's just like, it's so unique, you know? And this car has really helped me find those passions of like locations, and just getting those locations is the fun part, right? You know, like I think just finding the location, but the drive to get there is what really makes it really interesting, you know?
Right, so let us know what you think of TJ's car, and also where can they find you? I mean, obviously this has re-sparked your interest in
Right.
things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, with that being said, you can find me at Respark_Garage, and that's kind of my new venture, because it's an extension of what I've been doing, but it's more focused on the Japanese and the European and everything that I haven't been doing for the past like 6-7 years. You can find me at Respark Garage, but if you do like old hot rods and old customs, you can find me at MrMR.MUKATSUKU, Mr. Mukatsuku, on Instagram.
it'll all be on the screen. And honestly, you should probably start a YouTube channel. Just shameless plug. We're working on that. But,
yeah.
It's awesome to see the journey of this car.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've barely known this car for like 6 months, and
Oh, man.
it's already like taking strides, and like now I see the garage where the magic happens.
Right.
Over there with Juan. So yeah, appreciate you talking about your car, sharing your story a little bit, and everything about Respark Garage. And hopefully we'll do some more events soon.
Sure.
I'm sure I'll be out here more often. I'm out here with the Cybertruck right now, but hopefully I'll be out here with the Miata.
Yes.
And then we can actually do some roads together in Hillcrest Highway. I've yet to really show ACH on this channel, so like that's got to change.
Right.
A lot of things got to change. And of course, we got to do Quan's car pretty soon here. You can find him at Marble NC1, something like that.
Yeah, Marble NC1, correct, yeah. And I do want to add, TJ is one of the finest people. If you can follow him, he's got so much great content. His photography outside of this entire sort of realm is unbelievable. It's got such unique sort of visuals that you'll be very, very impressed. And so please follow TJ.
Drink more, Quan.
He would say that even without a drink in the
I know he would.
But
Yeah.
it's true. I do like your style.
Thank
Every
you, man.
photographer has a unique style, and I think that's what's kind of magical about it. So I'm looking forward to shooting some of your car, maybe have you shooting some more of my car.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see shots, of each of our cars. When we had that magical road trip up the coast together. That was a blast. So till next time, cheers.
Cheers.